All right, welcome to part 7 of our Ready Player Me C# Deep Dive tutorial series. In this episode, let's try virtual reality and let's try half body avatars. First things first, let's go to Ready Player Me and let's go to settings and let's find one of our avatar configurations here. I guess this is our only one. Let's change this to, so we don't actually need to change our avatar configuration for VR because the change actually comes from the URL or shortcode we use. So if we load this avatar into the scene, we should see a full body avatar. How does that keep changing? I don't know why that keeps changing. All right, well, there's a half body avatar. It all comes down to the URL if it's going to be half body or not. That's hilarious if that. All right, so let's talk for a minute about how are you going to get your in a VR app, how are you going to get the avatar? Now, if it's PC VR, no big deal. They could just go to Ready Player Me's website and get their avatar glib URL, bring it into your app potentially and paste it. I don't know. If you were doing WebXR, it probably wouldn't be an issue. But with just flat screen desktop builds, there's not a way to put the avatar in the game natively. And also with mobile VR apps, there's not a way to do it natively, which I don't understand why you can't. Why you can do it on a mobile, like Android phone, but you can't do it on a VR headset. I don't really get it. But there is an app out there, and maybe I'll put an affiliate link in the description for Vuplex. All right, so if you search Vuplex in the Unity Asset Store, I encourage you to actually go to the entire store for Vuplex. So in the publishers page, like if I found like one of these web views, click on the actual Vuplex name to take you to the store. You can see all the different plugins that they have. If you plan on building for Quest 2 or Pico, I recommend 3D WebView for Android with Gecko. That's the one that I own, and it works for both those devices. If you plan to do a build for both desktop and VR, you'll also need to purchase the 3D WebView for Windows and Mac OS. Yeah. So I know it's a high price point, but there literally is no other solution. So if you want to have the avatar window inside your VR app to where players can edit their avatar while not having to take off their headset, gotta drop $200. There is no other solution. Trust me, I've looked. In fact, I was so cheap, I actually didn't buy this myself. A guy that I'm working for, he bought it. He bought a seat for me because he wanted it in the app. So that's how I got experience with it. But we're not going to demo that because I know a lot of people starting out, they don't have $200 they want to drop on an asset, but it does work. It is worth it. Probably at some point in this series, I will cover it, but not today. So today we just need a glib URL, which I already have one, so I'm just going to leave mine there. But let's just review how you would get it. So you go to Ready Player Me, enter the hub. And if you don't already have a VR app, well, you can go to a VR avatar. You can go to My Avatars. And if you don't see the VR one, then you haven't made one. So you would need to create a new avatar. And if you don't already have a VR avatar, if I remember right, it's kind of hard to get to the VR ones. Because by default, it takes you to just avatar. So if I go in here, well, somehow it's giving me, is it giving me full bodies? Let's see. Yeah, these are full body. I can't remember what the URL is, but I think it's vr.readyplayerme/avatar. Yep, there it is. Just put vr.readyplayer.me/avatar if you're having a hard time getting to the half bodies. All right, just to confirm, we'll click in here all the way and make sure these are indeed half bodies. There you have it, half bodies. All right, so I am going to use the eye animations and I'm going to use a voiced animation. And I need to go into my settings. Because for the voiced animation thing to work, I do need the mouth open and mouth close visemes. All right, so I need to have those in my settings. All right, so now if I go up to ReadyPlayerMe avatar loader, let's load my avatar into the scene. All right, here he is. All right, I have hands, which I guess we'll go ahead and use hands for now. There you can see the eye animation handler, voice handler, and then if we look at the renderer, we have these two blend shapes. So if we come zoom in, we can do mouth open. In fact, I don't even know if that uses the mouth close viseme. Yeah, I can see how that's kind of not really going to use that. I think it's just going to be mouth open, mouth closed like that. No teeth? I never really noticed no teeth. Oh. All right. And if we just go ahead and hit play, I've shown this before, but you should see the eyes kind of moving around. So that's pretty cool. And for the voice handler to work, keep in mind it doesn't work for WebGL, which for me, it's a reminder, I need to go to my build settings, and I'm going to switch to Android to be ready for VR. All right, great. We're on Android now, and I'm not sure why. Oh, it's going to recompile. There we go. We've recompiled. If I add an audio source component here, and oh, the audio provider is the microphone, but we still need to have an audio source. So I'll just drag that in there. All right, and you can see the audio clip is the microphone. So if I go ahead and hit play now, this won't work because my microphone's already being used by OBS. But I'm not sure if it being muted matters at all. But I showed this in a previous episode how it would work. But that would make the microphone move. Not really that big of a deal if you're doing a single player game. But what can be nice is if you have non-player characters walking around and you have an audio clip. Actually, let's go test that. Let's do audio clip. Audio source is still this. The crazy numbers are because that's what the name of this thing is. Let's just grab an audio clip. All right, so in the ReadyPlayerMe package, if you just click on this button and go to audio clip and search all, there should be one already in there. In fact, I didn't even need to go through all that. I could have just came up here, clicked this. It'll show me all my audio clips.
Let's test ReadyPlayerMe voice
and there we
handler.
go. I don't even know if you can hear that. Let me check OBS. All right, looks like you should have been able to hear that. So I'm going to tell this to play on awake. I'll go ahead and tell it to loop. And let's just go ahead and see if that works. And it doesn't. Oh, because it wanted me to set the audio clip. How did I miss that? It wanted me to set the audio clip on the voice handler, not in the actual audio source. Well, we can do that too.
Let's test ReadyPlay.
All right, and then let's hit play. All right, but it's not playing. Oh, test.
Let's test ReadyPlayerMe voice handler. Let's test ReadyPlayerMe voice handler.
All right, it's not bad. Not bad. There are other resources you can use. I can't remember the name of the one that I've used off the top of my head already. Salsa, I think. It's pretty good. But that all is going to depend on how many visemes too you're utilizing in the face. For just basic mouth movement, that gets the job done. All right, so we have our avatar here. And we're in T-pose, and we have our controllers. Let's take a look at the armature. So there's a lot of armature here because it's still a humanoid rig, I believe. But really, there's no neck. There's no real. Is there a neck? I guess there technically is a neck. But there's a right hand bone and a left hand bone. Those are going to be coming important soon. Let's get our project set up for VR because I don't know that it is. So let's go into our package manager, Unity registry, and let's search XR. And let's go to XR plugin management. Let's install that. All right, do we want any of our samples here? Yeah, let's go ahead and we'll import those samples. And then the XR interaction toolkit, we want those as well. All right, so let's install that. Always make sure you have a backup. I always do. I'm good. Let's go ahead and save the scene. And I can't remember if it's inside the plugin management example or if it's the starter assets with XR Interaction Toolkit. But I'm going to go ahead and import that. I never mess with the XR device simulator because I have our device that I hook up. We should be good now. So let's go to Edit, Project Settings, XR Plugin Management. So for Android, you always want Initialize XR on Startup, and then choose the device that you're going to use. I am going to be just doing a demo with desktops. I don't have to actually build the Android. It'll all be the same. But I'm going to use OpenXR to do this because I don't like using the Oculus desktop app. I actually prefer the Steam VR app. And then I need to go down to OpenXR and then choose what runtime I want. And then I'm probably going to use my Pico for this. So I need to get my Pico package installed. And so if I go to Window, Package Manager, I think I want Tarball, is that right? Go to my downloads. There's that. That's not it. Package from disk. Downloads, Pico integration. Okay. I thought I had this fixed before, but there's a different way that you can install the package to where, like, if you're working with a group of people, it can get kind of complicated because installing from disk, all the other people are going to be looking for it on your disk that they don't have access to. If you don't know where to get the actual Pico SDK, just go to their website. I guess I can look it up real quick. All right, so picoxr.com, go to For Developers, Development Tools, and then SDK download, and then download, agree, then download it. All right, but if you're not using Pico, you don't have to worry about that, but I am using the Pico. Ignore its warnings for now. And if I go into my project settings, I do have Pico as an option, but we're not going to be using that in this demo because I'm going to use Steam VR. But since I am using Pico, I'm going to go and get my Pico link set up. Supposedly, Streaming Assistant's pretty good now. It's their latest and greatest way that you can use the Pico with Steam VR. But I had issues with it, and I found Pico Link just worked near perfect for me. So I just continue to use Pico Link, but I have heard great things about the updates to Streaming Assistant for Pico. So, all right. So here's our guy. We need a new player. I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna get rid of this main camera. I'm gonna get rid of this virtual cam. And before I even bring in my XR rig, I want to go to the samples. And this is, where is this? This is just assets samples, then XR Interaction Toolkit 2.0.4, starter assets. And I want to set default left-hand controller, add it to defaults. And I'll show you why it's important in a minute. And then I'm going to go to XRI default right controller, add that to defaults. And the reason, oh, there's one more thing. I need to go to edit, project settings. No. I need to go to edit, preferences. Maybe it was project. Edit, project settings, preset manager. And then on next to the right controller, put right. Next to the left controller, put left. And the reason that's important is when I actually come in here, right click, go to XR, then add my XR origin. I'm actually going to do XR origin action based. If I didn't have all that stuff set up first, if I came in here to my left-hand controller, all of these references would be empty and I'd have to put them in manually, which some people would want to anyway. Some people would want to create their own input actions, but I just prefer having the defaults because what's also nice about the defaults is we can come in here and here we have our XR Interaction Manager. And before the latest version of the Interaction Toolkit, this Input Action Manager wasn't added automatically, but it is now. And you can see it's using the XRI default input actions, which came in from the samples. what do we need to do now? Well, we can come in here and we can put our avatar, but rename that. All right, and let's go ahead and put it in our main camera, and then let's reset. Now, the thing to note about this is that our camera, if we turn our gizmos on, is right there, but our avatar's eyes are not there. I just realized that instead of having to do some funky stuff, I can come in here to the armature. I could probably just move the arm to where camera, and let me get rid of this camera. We're kind of looking through our head, but let's get our armature, and let's our eyeballs are almost perfectly lined up. We're looking at our eyes, it's gonna be about like that. Then let's just move back until our camera is completely in front of our player. We'll see if we use our main camera now. Right now I'm holding right click and using my scroll wheel to slow down. You can see that we are just on the bridge of the nose. I could take my armature and I could even go back just a hair more. All right. And yeah, that should be pretty good. On my XR origin, I also want to set my tracking mode to floor. What's nice about that is if people are different heights in real life, it should kind of reflect that in game, unless of course they're sitting in a chair or on the floor. All right, so if we hooked up the headset and we went and played right now, if I turned my head in the real world, then my avatar's head would also turn, but our hands wouldn't do anything. So the way that we're going to handle our hands. All right, next up, I forgot something. We need to go into project settings, plugin management, no, OpenXR, and we need to choose interaction profile. This was cleared out. So we need to have interaction profile or it won't know to do anything. Even though I'm using the Pico, the profile is the exact same as Oculus Touch, so I'll put it there. And if I hit play now, so right now it's tracking our head movement. As you can see, the avatar is moving, but I'm moving the controller by itself. And if we go to right-hand controller, it's 0, 0, 0. So it's not actually tracking the controller. And what kills me is I did all of this off camera first and then undid everything. And I thought I was showing you everything you need to put back, but apparently I missed something. So a good place to start, of course, is the console. And suppose the controller not be updated correctly until the input actions are enabled. Just stop and I'll look it up. Weird, I don't know what I did, but whenever I undid everything I added, it got rid of the input action manager somehow. Which is really weird because that got added automatically. I'm just going to add it back, put on the XRI default input action, see if that fixes it. All right, so as you can see, the rays are moving with my controllers. Huzzah. All right, so that shows us that that's moving. But the rays are kind of not really what we want to see here. I think rays, I mean rays. So I'm just going to go into each of these controllers. And I'm just going to turn off the XR ray interactor, the line renderer, and the XR interactor. All right, we're going to try something. I know something that will work. But I'm going to try something I never tried before. And I think this will just make it quick and easy, and it'll just work. So on our right hand, we'll do it on the left hand too. Actually, I can probably just go ahead and highlight them both. We go add component, constraint. We go down to parent constraint. All right, I'm going to choose right hand. And I'm going to add a source, and the source is going to be my right-hand controller. Then on my left hand, I'm going to add a source, and it's going to be my left-hand controller. I'm going to zero it out, and then it becomes active. My right hand, I'm going to zero it out, it becomes active. What zeroing it does is in the floor, right? But it puts the hands at 0, 0, 0 with my controllers. Now, we're not done. If I go ahead and hit play, you'll see that the controllers aren't, the hands aren't really lined up with the controllers how we would like. All right, so let me just zoom in here. It'll be hard for you to tell, I think, from your end. But here's my hands. And let me just look at them, and you can use, we'll use this game window here. So here's my hands. So I have my hands directly in front of me right now. And I'm holding my controllers and pointing them straight in front of me. So what's happening in real life is really my hands should be more like this. That's what it should look like in the game because that's how I'm holding the control. But we're like this. So we need to take, we'll start with the right hand, and we need to offset it by rotating it on this axis, which if I look in the inspector, we look in the inspector, right hand forward. Okay, if I want to rotate it on this axis to the left, it's so hard to tell where the rotation is, but it looks like it's mostly X. Some Z too. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, and I'm going to, well, can I mess with the constraint settings right here? No, it's locked at run. So yeah, we're going to see if I can adjust these. You know what we could probably do here is we could probably just eyeball it. So let's take the neck just so that we can see better. I'm just going to zero out the scale on the neck. And then on the left hand, let's do the same thing. We're going to zero out the scale. Now we're just dealing with the right hand. All right, and here we can see our right hand controller. All right, we're in the same orientation that we saw ourselves when we pointed the controller forward. Really what we can do now is we have this nice little grid line that we can work with too, is I can just take this right hand and grab this little transform tool, and we want to rotate him like that. Anything? No, let's turn off lights. I'm not doing anything. We have to disable the is active parent constraint so we can edit it. All right, so now we can bring up this nice transform tool, and we can just grab him like that. And then we'll grab this one like that. And I feel like if we use that grid line to our advantage, we could sort of do that. And then we can now take the right hand and zero it. Take the left hand, bring it back. Let's do the same thing with the left hand. We need to rotate this guy. Oh, we have to take our left hand, make it active. Rotate it this way, right? Something like that. And then rotate this something like that. And then let's make that active. Oh. What? Let's try it again. Left hand. We want to I'm losing my mind. Rotate like this and like that. Now if I set activate, good, it locked it. All right hand, bring it back, activate, great. Then go back to the neck, scale it back to 1. Let's see how this works. All right, there we go. That's pretty sweet. Our hands, I'm a little glitchy on my end. But our hands, even just eyeballing it, I feel like it's pretty perfect. All right, so that's gonna be it for this video. In the next one, we'll probably look at actually moving around, and then potentially maybe animating the fingers. Not sure, but this is a great start. Super easy. Didn't have to write any code to do this. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what you want to see next.